Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. Tonight, we are recapping the week's nerdy news from the Iceberg Lounge to the Hotel Oblivion and everywhere in between. My name, well, that happens to be Mike Gibson. With me, as always, is Mr. Steve Haller. What's up, Steve?
Well, not much at all. We're living in DC land, so in my brain, there's not much going on. Although there's some exciting things going on.
Come on.
No,
big DC week.
Yeah, really big DC week. So
compared to the last few weeks of minimal to no DC news,
right?
But
or minimal to no news. Period.
That's true.
So yeah, if you didn't see on the thumbnail leading into this thing, if you're listening to it through your ear holes, you did not see the thumbnail showing that Josh Brolin will be in the news. So
very possibly.
More to get to that later.
Yes.
At least our news. I don't know about the global. Well, I'm sure he's a movie star. He's going to be in the news somewhere.
It'll tap into the global consciousness on some level.
Yeah.
But yeah, big DC week. But we also got a bit of a Star Wars, some Star Wars stuff, some Marvel stuff, comic reviews. Oh, I didn't bring down my comic that I have to review. I'll have to run up and get it at some point.
I don't have a comic to review, so.
You don't even have one?
Nope.
Oh, wow. Well, at some point, when you feel like you have something to say, I'll run upstairs and grab my comic book. A first in the history of this podcast, I think, me having to run.
You running away instead of me?
Yeah, you run away all the time.
Right. I run away at least like once every 8 episodes or so.
Yeah, check on the dog, let the dog outside, hear a weird noise outside, go investigate, all that kind of stuff Steve has to do.
Mm-hmm. So,
this podcast that you're listening to right now is brought to you by Funky Town Comics in Camillus, New York.
Sorry.
Did you just hear a weird noise and have to go investigate?
No, I was remembering the other podcast I do, the Syracuse Sports one. That was the day that I was literally recording when I found out there was a bat in my basement.
Oh, geez.
And kept seeing it flit like over there in the doorway. And I was like, what the hell is... So I had to leave that podcast to go take care of a bat in my basement.
Oh, wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah, there's a recurring theme of me recording podcasts and having to get up and do something.
Yikes. 2 things. One, I just realized that I don't think I have to go get the comic book that I'm reviewing. I got enough up here.
There you go.
About it to talk about it, so I won't have to interrupt. But also, remember that time that we stopped in the middle of a podcast to watch the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer and then resumed podcasting? That was we haven't done that before or since.
No, I don't think there's been a trailer that's dropped explicitly when we were podcasting.
While we were doing it, yeah.
So, yeah, what was the book that you are looking for?
Well, later on in the episode, when we get to comics reviews, you'll be hearing a review from me from Deadpool Team Up #1, drawn and written by Mr. Rob Liefeld himself.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
Or at least penciled and written. I don't know. Inks and colors names escape me. But,
right. No,
so
I was trying to, in my brain, I was like, well, he won't have to get it if I have it floating here, but I do not have that. So.
Yeah.
You know who does have it, though?
Oh, I bet Funky Town Comics and Vinyl has it.
I bet they do. So,
I bet they do because that's where I got mine.
There you go. As always, we are sponsored by Funky Town Comics and Vinyl.
That's true.
Your stop in the greater Syracuse area for all of your comics and vinyl needs.
Yeah.
Toys, too.
Yep. Absolutely. They got so much stuff.
They're always getting new collections in. They're always getting new stuff in. The wall books there's some gems up there right now.
I just bought the first appearance of the ventriloquist and Mr. Scarface Batman book.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Yep. I saw it last week. And this week I was like, you know what? I'm going to pick that thing up. I feel like...
I don't know if you saw it this week. Up on the top shelf of the wall books, there is an ASM 252 sitting there.
Oh, I don't think I did see that. My.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I did see, though? I saw an X-Men book that I have a copy of.
Really?
That is being sold on their wall for like $100. And I was like, what? I have that book.
Well, you may want to look into it.
Yeah, I know. And Jesse was like, "Oh, it's like the first appearance of somebody, like first appearance of Mr. Sinister or something like that." I was like,
Oh,
he's like, "I'm
nice.
not really sure." I'm like, "Whoa, really? Oh, I gotta make sure I still have that book."
Yeah.
Like I recognize the cover. That's like Havoc, like vaporizing
Oh,
Wolverine, like a blue background.
shit. What is that one? Yeah,
It's like
I know the cover you're thinking of.
122 or something. I don't
Yeah,
know the like 221 or something.
it is. I believe it's X-Men. Is it 221? Yeah, 221.
Yeah.
That is first appearance of Sinister.
Wow, crazy. I
Yeah.
have that book. At least I think I do.
Yeah.
Make sure that I do.
There you go.
Maybe that's what I'll leave the podcast to go and do. To thumb through all my
Thumb through
short
all your long
boxes.
boxes to find out.
Yeah, see if I can find that one book.
Yeah, actually, now that you say that, you say short boxes. Like, I always say, look at my long box. I don't think I have any actual long boxes.
I don't have any
think
long boxes
all I
either.
have is
Short boxes are way easier to store.
Yeah.
Although you end up needing more of them. I
Right.
get that. But yeah.
Yeah, but like trying to pick up a long box and do anything with it is
I know.
extremely, yeah, no, not great.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Anyway, all that business is out of the way. Oh, we have a Patreon. You should check us out on Patreon.
You
Pledge
should.
us some money and get some cool stuff in return.
Right. You could
If you
hear
like what
the
we're doing.
lowest of low keys intro we did this week as opposed to our normal, extremely high energy pre-pod. It
Yeah,
seems
we did
like
not have much to talk about this week.
No, and we seem to have brought it to the pod, so we're okay there.
Yes. Yeah, we're lighting things up. We're on fire right now. But boy, before we were snooze fest. But
yeah,
that doesn't mean that you shouldn't give us money to listen to us, our snooze fest. Because if people are listening, we'll pump that shit up. Just for you.
if people are listening, we'll at least record the snooze fest.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
all right. I am ready to jump into a very DC heavy week. And it's been a while since we've gotten like, these are like substantial, at least two really substantial updates on the DCU. And then some other updates on things that we knew were happening.
yeah, but some clarifying things on things we knew were happening that could have big implications. So,
agreed. So, starting things off with Steve's Josh Brolin tease. Why are we talking about Josh Brolin, people?
It's another Thanos movie.
Multiverse Report. Yeah, they're making a Thanos movie in the DCU.
And with Cable.
Yep, Cable and Thanos and Jonah Hex are going to team up in a multiverse Marvel DC crossover. That's the Marvel DC crossover that everybody wants, right? They want Jonah Hex going off against Cable, teaming up with Cable to defeat Thanos, all played by Josh Brolin.
And little did you know, all three of those characters in the wide multiverse are members of the Lantern Corps.
Or they might be soon.
Mm-hmm.
Is being reported, not confirmed, that Josh Brolin has been offered the role of Hal Jordan in the DCU. These are unconfirmed reports, but being confirmed by scoopers that Steve and I trust, like Jeff Snyder from the Hot Mic podcast, saying that he has been offered the role and he is not officially accepted, but it is Brolin's role if he wants it. As we just mentioned, he certainly has plenty of experience in the world of comic book movies, playing those three characters that we mentioned. However, the film Jonah Hex, I have to say, probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my whole life. Really, really bad. Not Josh Brolin's fault, though, I got to say. Not at all his fault. Nor is it the fault of John Malkovich or Megan Fox, who also are in that movie. It's just real bad. Just real bad. Anyway, and if that wasn't it, well, first of all, let's stick with that headline before we dive into the next bit of information about this story. Steve, you're not as in-depthly familiar with the Green Lantern universe or Hal Jordan as maybe I am, but how do you feel about Josh Brolin as Hal Jordan?
I have no idea. Legitimately, like, I don't know anything about Hal Jordan. What I do know is the way they're penning this or like pushing this Lanterns TV series of kind of a, not so much as a buddy cop, but like Training Day in the DCU.
Yeah, the True Detective. They keep comparing it to. Yeah.
Not Training Day, True Detective. I had the TD right.
Yeah.
But like Josh Brolin definitely fits as maybe the grisly old counterpart to a Jon Stewart that is yet to be cast.
Well, yeah. that's the thing, is that it that Brolin is kind of, I mean, he's a great actor. He can
All right.
do anything, but I feel like Josh Brolin reads as more of a gruff and grumpy guy in general. Like he's
Yeah.
good at that kind of character, kind of reads as that kind of character, and I'm sure he could lighten things up if he was asked to. Hal Jordan has
think of
been,
those three characters we mentioned.
yes, exactly.
He's
Yes.
not a happy-go-lucky kind of guy.
Exactly. Perfect way to bring that around. Yeah. So I think depending on the depiction of Hal Jordan, that he could be great. He could be perfect. He reads a little old, I think. He's 53.
Oh, yeah.
So he's not like the youngest guy in Hollywood, but I think, I don't know, because there's versions of Hal Jordan where he is portrayed as being older, and there's versions of Hal Jordan where they, invented him, made him younger and cockier and wisecrackier, which is how we got the Ryan Reynolds casting.
Right.
But I also, there's a point, Hal Jordan, at least in his origin, Hal Jordan's supposed to be like a cocky, full of himself guy, but also someone who's like the best test fighter jet pilot around.
Right.
And if you're the best fighter jet pilot around, you're probably not in your 20s,
Right.
So
well, maybe, you know what? Maybe this reads more of the Gurney Halleck from Dune.
Sure. Yeah.
Like his role in that was cocksure, war veteran, but also kind of that old grizzled guy that was the, leader of men and whatnot. So
right. And I think what you said, if they're going with Brolin or somebody like Josh Brolin, I think that what you said is probably true, that they'll probably cast a younger Jon Stewart and have that be the dichotomy between the two of them. The older, gruff and, has seen it all, older guy, cop Hal Jordan, and a fresh-faced, green, no pun intended, Jon Stewart, who's being kind of shown the ropes. Now, another interesting twist in this story is that it's also being reported that if Josh Brolin should pass on this role, the role of Hal Jordan may go to either Matthew McConaughey or Ewan McGregor.
Which I feel like every one of those three, this role reads very, very differently.
Three radically different actors. However, if they're going for a True Detective type feel, Matthew McConaughey probably pretty good.
It's almost a little too on the nose.
Maybe a little too on the nose. You're right. Yeah, wildly different acting styles. Out of the three of these, my pick, I think, would be Ewan McGregor.
Oh yeah.
McConaughey, I think, would be my least favorite of the three cast, although he's an incredible actor, and again, he could probably do anything that they give him to do. My biggest takeaway from this news, having it be Josh Brolin as their top choice, and then McConaughey and McGregor. Ewan McGregor also, I feel like he's roughly the same age as Josh Brolin, but Ewan McGregor reads a little
the same age as Josh Brolin.
Oh, they're exactly the same age. Okay. Ewan McGregor reads a little younger to me. He doesn't quite look as like grizzled.
Oh no, I thought you had said Brolin was 53. Brolin is 56. McGregor is 53.
Oh, okay. So they're close.
Yep.
So he is younger, but he also reads younger, I think, than 53. So
I mean,
I don't know. Maybe that's why I like
is also 54.
Oh wow. So they're
right
definitely
in that
like
wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And all three of them have range. Like
exactly.
A lot of
all
range.
three of them can do anything. But my biggest takeaway from these three names being the ones in the mix is that they are really aiming for prestige television with this Lantern series. And they want people to take it seriously. They don't want people to say, oh, that's just a comic book show. They don't want to say like, oh, that's like a space detective show starring Josh Brolin or starring Matthew McConaughey. I'm watching that. I don't care if I have never heard of Green Lantern. I'm watching the new Ewan McGregor show on HBO, you
Right.
know? And it is in line with James Gunn has previously said that storylines involving the Green Lanterns in his new DCU, he's described them as being, quote, important to the new DCU. And using actors of any of these three actors of this magnitude definitely backs up that claim and shows how important and how serious they're actually taking the DCU in general.
Yeah.
And as far as how they want it to hit with consumers, I guess, you know, they're going top shelf. So, I mean, yeah, I think any one of these, they could be a good Hal Jordan. Honestly, there was a rumor years ago before James Gunn took over when they were still just doing whatever over there at Warner Brothers with the DC properties. There was a rumor they were trying to get Tom Cruise to be in a Green Lantern movie and play a Hal Jordan. Similar thing that you and I were just talking about. An older Hal Jordan teaching a younger Jon Stewart.
I mean, the way you described him, Tom Cruise already played Hal Jordan in Top Gun.
Yep.
Like,
Yes.
Top Gun Maverick is this movie.
I honestly think Tom Cruise would be an incredible pick for Hal Jordan, but I don't think he's going to do that anytime soon. So
I think
Tom
he's
Cruise
still
is
there's few people that are on that tier above prestige TV.
Yeah,
and I feel like it's like Cruise and Hanks, and that's kind of your list.
Except Hanks did a series for Apple TV last year that nobody watched because Apple TV doesn't advertise anything, and they just have so much money they can get huge stars to be in one series of a miniseries or one season of a show, and not even bother telling anybody about it.
Right? You have Tom Hanks doing something, and you don't announce it.
I don't know the name. I don't even know the name of the show, but like I saw it when I was like looking through Apple TV stuff. I was like, "Is that Tom Hanks?" And it's true.
Oh,
can you imagine 15, 20 years ago, if they had said like, "Hey, Tom Hanks is doing a TV show," that'd be like the biggest entertainment news in Hollywood.
Oh,
it would
100%.
be insane. No one we're like, "What are you doing? Oh my God, I have to watch this show." Now there's so much streaming content out there that just nobody cares.
Right.
No one cares. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, look at like the cast of like The Morning Show.
Yeah.
It's stupid, but they do it. Also, was it with you that I was running down through the Hanks filmography, and I was like, I don't know what it is, but I don't hate Tom Hanks movies. I just have a weird thing for Tom Hanks, and I don't know why. Like, I know we brought it up on the pod numerous times.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
But then you look through his filmography, and I'm like, God damn, they were all good.
Yeah. If we're talking actors that are above prestige television shows, Leonardo DiCaprio is on that list. I can't ever see him doing a TV series.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess it. Yeah, no, that's probably about right.
Yeah. Anyway, what I could see him do is another movie. Speaking of movies, like how I genetically engineered that segue as clunky as possible. This is a movie that has not been announced.
And a movie that Leonardo DiCaprio will not be starring.
Will not be in. He has famously said to given advice to other younger actors, including Timothée Chalamet. His number one piece of advice is don't do a superhero movie. So I don't think we're going to see Leo in a superhero movie anytime soon. Especially not this one. And this is one that has not been announced nor confirmed by James Gunn or Peter Safran as being part of the DCU. But again, Jeff Snyder doesn't mess around when it comes to dropping information. He only releases things that he believes to be true from sources that he trusts. And Jeff Snyder has reported that Luca Guadagnino, the director of recent big cinema hit Challengers, is on board to direct a Sergeant Rock movie for the DCU. Guadagnino will be collaborating with his frequent co-writer of Challengers as well, Justin Kuritzkis. He'll be penning the script. I think this is very cool. Sergeant Rock, for those of you who don't know, which is probably a lot of you who don't dive deep into DC Comics lore, Steve raising his hand, Sergeant Rock is like a gruff and determined World War II hero. He was created by Robert Kanigher and Joseph Kubert in 1959, and it's like it's a war book, World War II, fighting brigade, whatever.
Yeah.
We got to get over that hill. We got to defeat. It's like a war stories book.
It's
So
like
not
a
super.
gruff cap, but
Yeah,
just a
yeah,
soldier.
but not super powered. Just a guy.
Yeah.
Just like a dude.
You know what? Howling Commandos.
Yeah, it's kind of like Nick Fury, original version of
Yeah,
Nick
okay.
Fury.
I
Just a
gotcha.
guy.
Yep.
But specifically World War II, not a secret agent, just like a soldier, a sergeant in the American U.S. military. So it's not a superpower thing. It's a different genre of movie. It's a war movie. And it's not like Captain America where it's a war movie, but it's also a superhero movie. This would be straight up a war movie. And I think it's cool that if this is true, I think it's cool that they're not afraid to flex that muscle and be like, yeah, we're DC Comics, but we don't have to make everything. Not everything has to be capes and tights and superpowers. So I think this would be cool. There's no word on casting, obviously. This is just like an initial report that a director and a writer are on board to start scripting. And Sergeant Rock has been, bandied and suggested around Hollywood for a number of years. There have been past attempts to adapt the character. One that had Arnold Schwarzenegger attached to play the title character, and one that had Bruce Willis attached to play Sergeant Rock. Neither of those projects ever got off the ground, but it's been a property that has been thought of before in the past. And hopefully this one goes. As we know, as James Gunn says, that they're not going to greenlight anything until they have a good script. So if this is just starting, then it might be a while before we hear anything about a Sergeant Rock movie. But again, I think it's really cool. It's something that, not to compare apples and oranges, but I don't think Marvel would do, we're not going to see just a straight up World War II movie in the MCU. I don't think anytime soon.
No.
Right. And it's a way to get people, I don't want to go. Maybe there's people that are like, I don't want to go see a superhero movie, but I'll go see a World War II movie.
Right.
It casts a broader net for your audience. So I think that's really cool. If that happens to be true, and we will of course keep you informed on any updates concerning Sergeant Rock.
I still can't comprehend how that would, like they say DC Universe, and it's like, it's Gunn, so I guess you trust him and let him do what he's doing, but what? Like, how are you going to brand this as part of the DC Universe? Like, is there going to be some sort of tie-in, or are you just arbitrarily, because it's a DC movie, saying it's part of the DC Universe if we ever need to go back to that, or tie it in somewhere or whatever?
We don't necessarily, it depends on what the plot of the movie is. I guess just because Sergeant Rock himself is not a superhero doesn't mean that they can't have, they can't discover or be tasked with finding some fantastical element that will make sense in the future or whatever. Or, who knows? Or maybe they modernize it. Maybe it's not a World War II movie anymore. Maybe it's a current modern, a war going on in present day. They just update the character. So, or whatever. Maybe they're just doing it to make a different kind of movie. And it's not going to be a big tie-in. He said a number of times that they want every movie to stand on its own. They don't want you to have seen everything in order to enjoy whatever film. There'll be ties and crossovers here and there. So who knows? Who knows? But if it's, I got to imagine it's going to tie in somewhat if it's part of the DCU official. They have said that they're making some Elseworlds projects.
Yeah.
Like Joker and the Batman and stuff, but they have also said that those projects have to be outstanding in order to be greenlit. So we'll see. We'll see where Sergeant Rock lands if and when he does. Something that's going to be landing in theaters of fall 2026 is The Batman Part 2. I think was it last week we talked about. There was a quote from the co-writer on when they were starting or whatever. Haven't gotten a ton of information about it.
Right.
But now we do get a little bit more information about it because Matt Reeves himself, director and co-writer of The Batman and Batman Part 2, was given an interview talking about The Penguin series that's coming out this month, not in November, as I previously mistakenly thought. And its connections to The Batman Part 2. And he talked a little bit about the movie as well. And he has confirmed, and I feel like this was kind of obvious, but it's still cool to get it confirmed that Colin Farrell will be returning as the Penguin in The Batman Part 2. So spoiler alert for the Penguin series, he doesn't die. I don't know if anyone was expecting that. I certainly wasn't. So he had a quote about the Penguin series and saying that it will absolutely be connected to where we leave. Oh, the Batman sequel will absolutely be connected to where we leave things in the series, meaning the Penguin show. There are details that actually connect right into the way the next movie begins and the way that Oz enters that world as we hand the baton back to Batman. So,
but
seems
yet,
like
was it confirmed Batman is not in the Penguin? Or
remember
that was just cagey, right?
Last week we got that really great non-answer from the showrunner of the Penguin.
Yeah, that might have been what I was thinking of, where it was the pure coach speak. Yeah,
but like a really well delivered response without saying yes or no, for sure. So I can't imagine that they're going to make the Batman Part 2 in a way that people are going to be lost if they haven't watched the Penguin. But I'm sure there'll be threads
that's also known as pulling a Marvel.
Exactly. I know that they don't want to do that.
Right.
I know they don't want to do that.
I mean, that's one of the biggest things that their biggest competitor has been, kind of poo-pooed about.
Yeah, and that's like the hole that I think that that Marvel kind of realizing that they're in and attempting to dig themselves out of. Need some new entry points. New entry points for new people.
Oh, you don't want to watch 30-something movies and TV series and, decades of content to catch up?
It's not even just that. It's just like because it's enough. I don't know, you were just kind of saying this, so I'm just kind of saying the same thing I'm realizing, but just watching the movies that's enough of a homework assignment. But then to also be like, wait, I have to watch, not only do I have to watch 30 whatever movies, but I also have to watch this 6-episode series that isn't very good to understand what's happening in the next movie or whatever. Like, that's too much for a lot of people, for sure. But anyway, so I can't imagine that Penguin's going to be must-see viewing in order to understand what's happening in the Batman Part 2, but I'm sure, as Matt Reeves alludes to, that there will be threads that pick up and move the plot forward. But specifically on the Batman Part 2, Matt Reeves said the following: the plan is to shoot next year, and we're finishing up the script now. Colin will be a part of the movie. We've shared the script as we've been going along with DC and the studio, and they're super excited. It's going to dig into the epic story about deeper corruption, and it goes into places that he couldn't anticipate in the first one. I assume he's talking about Batman when he says he.
Yeah.
The seeds of where this goes are all in the first movie, and it expands in a way that will show you aspects of the character you never got to see. Batman is constantly battling these forces, but those forces can't be entirely exercised. So the next movie dives deeper into that. So I think that's cool because they certainly set up Gotham in the first one as being just drowning in corruption to its core, which is classic Batman. But the way that he says it's going to dig into the epic story about deeper corruption and go to places he couldn't anticipate. That to me says that they might be doing the Court of Owls, which would be
I could see that.
Very cool, like a secret society that's secretly been running Gotham for years. That certainly is deeper corruption, and it's forces that cannot be entirely exercised. Like that lines up with this quote.
Yeah.
So, I would love that. And they're also more. I mean, there definitely can be done in a more of a grounded way, which is what they're clearly leaning into, because the same interviewer asked, apparently, I had not heard this, but apparently there was rumors that the character of Gentleman Ghost was going to be a villain in the Batman 2. Steve shaking his head, telling me that he definitely has not watched
No clue.
all of Batman Cape Crusader
No.
yet.
No, I have not.
Gentleman Ghost is a ghost who dresses all fancy, like a
Just a
little top hat
gentleman.
and a little monocle that just kind of floats there because you can't see his body. And you know what? He's a villain. He's a little stinker. So I don't know how that. I had not heard that rumor, and it seemed like out of all the fantastical villains that could be in Batman Part 2, I would not have guessed in a million years they would use Gentleman Ghost. That seems like wild. Like we'd get Clayface before we got Gentleman Ghost. But anyway,
Yeah, but not from James Gunn.
well,
The
from James
master,
Gunn,
the
but
master
not
of
from
the
Matt.
deep cut.
I think we could get it from James Gunn, but we wouldn't get it from Matt Reeves.
Right, but they keep saying that everything's going to be completely disconnected. They've got to be. I don't know. I keep going back and forth on this of like they've got to be talking and like.
Well, you mean Reeves and Gunn
Yeah.
keeping the Pattinson Batman universe separate from the DCU? Is
Right,
what you're
they
saying.
always mention how they want or how it's going to be separate and whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The more I think about it, I'm like, is it really? Are they going to
don't know.
stick with that or whatever?
I don't need it to be connected. I'm fine with
don't
having two different
either.
versions of Batman. Yeah.
But I'm wondering more about DC's higher ups and whether they'll continue along the path of, all right, we're cooking this for 2 years already. One of the first things, you've got a Superman movie dropping, and then you've got the Batman, right after it, but also completely disconnected from it. And how is that going to play? And I don't know. I actually said it on my other podcast. Like the cynic in me always takes over, and I'm just like, I don't know. Like I love the concept, and I wonder if the execution will actually get there.
I know what you mean, because Warner Brothers has a history of moving things too fast with their DC properties to kind of play catch up with Marvel, and quality taking a nosedive in the process. But I think, fortunately, James Gunn is someone who has a plan, someone who knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And he also has years of missteps to point to. If someone starts trying to get him to, why don't we just bring Robert Pattinson over and, make some kind of crazy multiverse thing? He'd be like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's look at what happened in the past. We're not trying to do that. We're trying to do other stuff. Like he could, he has the receipts to show. So I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that Gunn is a strong enough creative voice that he can prevent that from happening, and stay true to his own vision, and allow Matt Reeves to stay true to his own vision too. And I think if the Batman hadn't been as well received as it was, then maybe they'd be pushing for something like that more. But because it was like a hit on its own, and its sequel will probably be a hit on its own,
right?
They don't really need it.
No.
They can say like, hey, we got this. This is its own franchise and it's doing good. We don't want to mess things up, because if we lose this, we lose all that money, And by the way, we are working on a Batman that will meet our Superman. So we're cooking with that too. Like that's happening also. This is just an additional revenue stream. Point it all back to the money, and they'll leave you alone, I hope.
All right. You're talking me off the ledge on it.
Yeah.
I still, the last quote led very directly in both of our brains, I think, to Court of Owls.
Yeah.
How awesome would that be to, like, just knowing the fight scenes and the feel of the original, the Batman, Batman versus like multiple Talons.
Oh, with a Talon?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a thing. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
However, let's revisit that after I read this last quote that I have.
Okay.
Regarding the question of Gentleman Ghost being in the series, Matt Reeves said, "We might push to the edge of the fantastical, but we would never go into full fantastical. It means it's meant to feel quite grounded." And he emphasized that a character like Gentleman Ghost is, quote, "probably pushed a bit too far for us to be able to find a way to do." What was important to me was to find a way to take these pop icons and translate it so Gotham feels like a place in our world. So that tells me he's leaning away from fantastical villain. So it's probably not going to be Mr. Freeze. We're probably not going to see Clayface. We're probably not going to see Killer Croc
Right.
or any of these like Gentleman Ghost. And we're probably not going to see reanimated corpses with superhuman abilities fighting on behalf of the Court of Owls. Now, they could certainly just do away with the fact that they're reanimated corpses.
Right.
And be like, no, this is just a highly trained assassin or whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of where,
yeah. So that's easy to do. Like he says, it's meant to feel grounded. Like he's talking about trying to, he's saying probably pushed a bit too far for us to find a way to do. So, he's trying to take these characters and make them work within his world if that's possible. But so I think it's possible to make a version of the Court of Owls work. It's less possible to make a true to the comics version of, say, Mr. Freeze work. Like, I can't imagine someone whipping out a freeze gun in the Batman Part 2. And there's certain things you can do where you, like, rework a character to make them more grounded. Christopher Nolan was doing that with his versions of the Bat films as well. But you can only do that so much and take it so far before the audience is like, this isn't the same.
It's not the same character. Yeah.
This is not who I want to see. Again, referencing my opinion on the Joker films.
Yep.
So, which, by the way, getting very mediocre reviews.
Yeah, literally most directly in the middle of the 1 to 10 scale.
Yes, and I've heard what I think is maybe the worst thing you can say about any movie, that it's boring, is what I've read multiple times. It's a boring movie. So you can be bad. Just be like, don't be boring. Don't bore the crap out of me. Anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway, I am fine with the Batman Matt Reeves universe staying more in a grounded tone because they really executed that, what I thought, very well in the first movie.
Yep. And
it kind of lends credence to what I've been thinking, what a lot of people have been assuming about the James Gunn DCU version of Batman, is that Batman will be the one to take on villains like Clayface and Gentleman Ghost and whoever else. That's the Batman that's going to be fighting alongside Superman when they have to go into space. They have to build a Justice League satellite in the orbit or whatever. So I'm fine with one version of Batman staying grounded in order to give room for another version of Batman to, fly through space with Superman or whatever.
No,
so
they pull it off. More power to them.
They pull it off. And they're just going to be like, I can't wait to get more information on that Brave and the Bold, because I'm almost positive it has to be such a tonal difference between the Robert Pattinson Batman gritty and grounded film. I can't wait to see like a bright blue and gray suit Batman, like almost more like Adam West.
Yeah.
Than anyone else that's come since. So we'll see. But that is my hope. Last bit of DC news. Entertainment Weekly has released some more exclusive. How can you get more exclusive? Just straight up exclusive. I think I meant to say additional exclusive images of Creature Commandos, the first official entry in James Gunn's DCU, along with an announcement that it will begin its 7-episode run on December 5th. We had heard end of the year. We had heard holiday time. Now we know it's going to start on December 5th. Run for 7 episodes. Quote from Gunn in Entertainment Weekly has said, "The thing I always loved about DC Comics was that you had your mainstream comics that always ran, but they also had these tonally different comics like Watchmen and The Dark Knight Returns and All-Star Superman. It was very different from Marvel in that way. That's something that I really want to retain with the studio, that every project is going to bring a different vision by the artists who are creating it. I'm used to dealing with oddballs and irregular types and weirdos. That's what Guardians is, and Creature Commandos is kind of like Guardians without the sentimentality. The Guardians are all really good characters at their heart, and that just isn't necessarily the case with the creatures." And just offhand, Gunn has also confirmed on Threads this week that Peacemaker Season 2 will also debut in 2025 after Superman. So sometime in the fall of 2025, we'll get Peacemaker Season 2. But before that, end of this year, we're getting Creature Commandos. And Steve, part of that quote kind of references what you and I were talking about when it comes to things like Sergeant Rock movie, where he likes that these things are going to be tonally different. He likes that they're going to have a different look and a different feel from each director or writer or whatever at the same time. So I don't know if you looked at any of these stills, these new images. They just kind of like more cool shots of cool characters. It doesn't, we got that one little tiny teaser, but it's still not a full trailer or anything like that to give us a real feel for the show. There's one really cool shot of Dr. Phosphorus holding up his arm and vaporizing bullets that are being shot at him.
Nice.
For sure. And I don't know. Cool. I'm down for this show. I still love hearing James Gunn describe what his vision is for the DCU, because I think that's really exciting. If he can pull that off, that's great. And I'm down for Creature Commandos. Considering they're monsters, it'd be cool if it was coming out in like October or something, but we'll see. It'll still be, so it's gonna be on the same release schedule as Skeleton Crew. Is that right?
Yeah.
Isn't Skeleton Crew coming out early December?
Concurrently with. Yep.
Man, it's gonna be busy December for me.
Well,
for sure.
It's gonna be busy for this December, and then moving forward, maybe a little less so.
Maybe a little less so. Because it is being reported, speaking of Skeleton Crew and a galaxy far, far away, Disney Plus will be going to be
figuring out how to talk. We have yet to do that after all these years.
Still working on it. It's a long process. Disney Plus is reportedly going to be scaling back to only one Star Wars series per year. It's been mentioned, and we talked about it last week, that Lucasfilm had currently several shows in development, but it's looking like now they're going to stay true to the statement that we heard CEO Bob Iger mention multiple times, starting back in 2023. He's been talking about scaling back on quantity of Disney Plus content, series, and films.
And not just for Star Wars, like globally was what Iger's comments were about.
Yeah, globally. He mentioned Marvel specifically several times when making that statement, which I think is warranted, because as much as people think there's too much Star Wars, there's way too much more stuff going on. So,
well, and I think that was, we may have touched on it at one point, but it was like all these studios made this shift for COVID and then never shifted back. And then they're wondering why the shift back is like, well, why isn't the old thing working again? It's like survive and adapt. Like,
yeah, I know.
This is, corporate Darwinism.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, for sure. Skeleton Crew is still coming out this December, as we just mentioned. Andor Season 2 still on track for 2025. So nothing that is scheduled to come out is being moved, but I think those are the only two that have been scheduled as far as series goes. We know that they're working on Ahsoka Season 2, but there's no way of knowing when that's going to be on television. But certainly, according to this, if this proves to be true, will not be in 2025, more likely 2026, which then makes me think they're going to target it so it'll run up to the release of Mandalorian and Grogu, tie all that stuff in.
Could be.
But that also means that we're not getting Mandalorian Season 4 until after the movie?
I don't know, and with all these shuffling dates, I almost don't care.
Yeah, I know. I
don't know either. I think we've gotten to the point now where I'm just like, put it out when you're going to put it out and make it good.
Yep.
And I don't
100%.
care how long it takes. I don't care how many you put out. If you can put 7 out and they're all good, sure. If you only can put 1 out and make it not a bag of ass, then do it.
Yes.
Give me an Andor, or give me 3/4 of an Andor.
Right.
Like,
I am.
Why not?
Why not? I'm fine. I'm fine with scaling back to one Star Wars series per year. If that Star Wars series blows my mind, great. If it's one Star Wars series per year and it's like, meh.
Right.
Like Mando Season 3, it was kind of like, this is fun, but, It's
Yeah.
okay.
Well, and maybe
if it's Andor, great.
call me crazy here. Maybe if you scale back these like they're talking about, instead of having to rush everything and, go full Pepe Sylvia on the whiteboard trying to connect all the dots, you got some time to actually think and flesh out a story that's interconnected in this universe and turn it into something.
Yep.
Call me nuts for this. I don't know, but
You're
it seems
insane,
like
Steve.
it's a great concept to
How
take
dare
your time
you
on
suggest? How dare you suggest that? You're fired from this podcast.
things. Done.
I need all my stuff and I need it now.
All right, Mike. Then you're on production duties.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the last episode of the Multiverse Report.
Oh God.
I'm fine with one Star Wars show per year.
Absolutely.
As we talked about last week, I'll reiterate again. I would love a Star Wars movie from time to time. That'd be great.
What are those?
Again, take your time and make them good, but I would like to see another Star Wars movie before I'm dead.
We went 10
So-
years. We went 20 years without one.
I went a long time without one.
Yeah.
But now I'm spoiled and I want more.
Actually,
Because I
no.
know you're working on them. I know you're
The-
making them. So now I want them.
Not even
you took-
like thinking about it. The biggest gap in Star Wars movies was only 16 years.
Yeah, but that felt like a lifetime.
I
Especially
mean, it literally
when,
was because that was our lifetime. Like 83 to 99 was literally our lifetime.
Shit, I forgot. What I was gonna
I'm sure it was. us.
It felt like a longer time, because there wasn't internet and phones and nerd
Also
sites
true.
and podcasts like ours talking about Star Wars constantly.
Mhm.
Like, I remember just being so excited when I happened to find another person that loved Star Wars like I did, and we could talk about it. You've
Yeah.
seen Star Wars? Oh my
Oh,
God,
yeah.
it's great, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Yeah. Now it's just all over in our faces all the time. If I need to talk to someone about Star Wars, I can open one of like 5 apps on my phone and be like, "Hey, did you watch The Acolyte?" or whatever,
Yeah. Mike, try doing that in Boonville.
Dude, I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah.
It was like a desert.
Yeah. So, yeah, a nerd desert for
Right.
sure.
A very snow. I literally was on Hoth.
Right. Yep.
Snow capital of the
Snowy
Northeast.
and everything. Yeah.
Yep, it was great. It was method acting, Mike.
Sure. All right, we got some one-shots later in the show, but moving into some comics. Steve, you do not have a comic to review.
I do not.
I do. It's Deadpool Team Up #1, written by Rob Liefeld. Liefeld. And penciled by him as well. I thought it was fine.
Oh, welcome
I
to
don't-
Rob Liefeld.
Yeah, exactly. I thought the art just looked like Rob Liefeld art. There's nothing to really write home about. No offense. And the story was okay. I just feel like he created the character, right? He created the character of Deadpool. For that, we thank him. But
He kind of.
I don't think-
kind of created the character.
wait, he didn't? What are you sniffing at over there?
He was involved.
Why does he get like sole credit for creating the character?
I don't think he gets sole credit. Does he?
Well, I thought he did.
I think a lot of
Maybe he wasn't the writer, but he was.
yeah.
That's why he's
let
got so
me-
many pouches.
I mean, Fabian Nicieza was kind of the
For
the
sure.
driving
Okay, yeah.
force, and Liefeld just drew him.
Okay. I don't know that Rob Liefeld is the greatest writer of Deadpool, or the greatest at understanding the character that he co-created. And that might be a blasphemous thing to say to some people, but
I think it's pretty well established.
I
with
think
Deadpool.
there's way better Deadpool writers. Gail Simone comes to mind. Because like out of the quips that he's doing are kind of like little hacky, like stuff that I could think of probably, and I don't know. It's nothing made me like laugh out loud. Like a Deadpool comic should make me laugh out loud, I
Yeah.
think. And this didn't.
Joe Kelly run
basically,
was good.
what's that?
The Joe Kelly run.
Oh yeah.
So, I don't
Yeah.
know. There's been a lot of people that have done Deadpool better than Liefeld.
Right, I agree. Because when in the beginning he wasn't even like a wisecracking, fourth wall breaking character.
Right.
He was a
No,
mercenary.
he was literally.
A
I was going
ripoff.
to confuse Deathstroke.
No, you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Who's the other one?
Who?
Idris Elba.
Bloodsport.
No, that's
is
not
the
it. Who was Will Smith? Deadshot? Or
Deadshot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I always can picture the character, the DC character that he's a complete ripoff of, and then I forget the name.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
"Ah."
Deathstroke.
Well, they have like
Yeah.
all of those that are very similar in all of comics, and you're like, okay, is that the right one?
Yeah. Especially, I mean, those two names are very similar.
And
Deathstroke
their
and Deadshot.
names are very. Isn't it Slade Wilson and Wade Wilson?
Wade Wilson is Deadpool. Slade
Right.
Wilson is Deathstroke.
Yeah.
Yes. So like, it's really crazy that recently I've read Rob Liefeld saying that Deadpool is not a ripoff of Deathstroke when it's so clearly a ripoff of Deathstroke. It's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, but at the beginning he was. Now they've changed Deadpool, so maybe he looks a little like Deathstroke, but like not. He doesn't act like him. Deathstroke's not a fourth wall breaking, funny, insane person. He's like a gritty mercenary. So anyway, stories about Deadpool falling into some kind of trouble, and he ends up meeting other known and lesser known characters along the way. They're inevitably going to be teaming up and going on an adventure together. One of them being Wolverine shows up. Spoiler alert, towards the end.
Probably a Cable in there too.
I don't know if there's going to be the cover with a bunch of them on there. I think Cable is one of them. Spider-Gwen is on the cover.
Oh.
That might lead to some cool stuff. But it was an okay book. Like I said, it's not the best Deadpool book I've ever read by far. It was fine. I thought there's a lot of repetition in the layouts, like where the panel layouts from page to page is just like, this is the same layout as the last like 3 page. Like, do something different, man.
Right.
Like,
there's nothing to catch your eye or keep your attention or.
Yeah, exactly. It's like switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So I can't say that it was my favorite comic book that I've ever. Fine. If you're a Deadpool completist, then pick it up. If you're a Liefeld head, then pick it up. But not really for me, I'll say. But I hope that some of the books this week may be for me. And those books include.
Prior to that, I think
what you got?
You know how I've been saying I've been stacks of books behind on things.
Yeah. Did you catch up?
No chance in hell.
All right, just asking.
Well, like my 2 stacks are effectively X and Ultimates, and they've been good enough that I keep pulling them.
Yeah.
Ultimates is still sitting on the pile. X I caught up on everything that had been out to this point on the new X runs. X Factor may be going the way of the buffalo, but I also have never particularly enjoyed X Factor.
As in, it's going to be canceled?
No, as in I'm canceling it off my poll.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It seems
it seems like
it seems like a book with promise. But also just not my bag. It never really has been, but it is what it is. Phoenix looks. I mean, that's been 1 and 2 for that have been great. I think I sent you a couple of snaps of some of the layout and some of the paginating there, and I was like,
art looks incredible on that book. Yeah.
There's one like split shot of Jean and Cyclops, and it's just like, they get it. They absolutely get it. Now in number 2, she meets up with Richard Rider, Nova.
Oh, cool. Oh, so, perfect pairing.
Yeah. So I'm curious if we're gonna see like some sort of new, Marvel space team.
Yeah,
as
that's
far
cool.
As where we're going with that, but definitely like she was. They were talking about like telepathic communication and that sort of thing, and I'm like, this seems like it's leading to a team up. So that'd be
cool
interesting.
Place for her.
Oh yeah. X-Force was the start of an X-Force book.
All right.
And yeah.
Did you read Exceptional?
I did not. It's on the pile. No, wait. No, I did not. It's on the pile solely because it's at Funky Town still. Because I went on a day Marvel had not come in yet.
Okay.
Because anybody who's in the comics industry, y'all can try and figure something out here, because it's been a long time since books have actually been on time to any of the places that I frequent.
Yeah, right?
Like, what are you doing, guys?
Yeah.
Distribution needs to get to pull it together.
Yeah, sort it out. I read a couple books this week. I read the Deadpool team up. I'm catching up. I'm almost caught up on the Boy Wonder series. All 5 issues are out now. It's really good. If you're a Robin or Bat Family fan, it's definitely worth reading. I hope that it comes out in a trade, because I'll probably pick that up as well. It's really great. Catching up on some Birds of Prey, still excellent as well. I'm behind on Poison Ivy still. I have all the books, but I haven't caught up yet, so I got to do that. And I might actually pick up a couple books on this week's list. Some of these will be at your local comic book store this week. We're looking at Amazing Spider-Man number 57, Avengers Assemble number 1, Batman 89 Echoes number 4, Batman and Robin number 13, Batman Gotham by Gaslight, The Kryptonian Age number 4, Captain America number 13, DC versus Vampires World War V number 2, Department of Truth number 25, Fantastic Four number 25, Garfield number 2, Godzilla Here There Be Dragon 2, Sons of Giants 3. What a title. Here There Be Dragons 2, Sons of Giants, issue number 3.
Just run with it, man.
Weird. It's a lot to do. Green Lantern number 15, Johnny Quest number 2, My Little Pony Maritime Mysteries number 4, Nightwing Uncovered number 1. That's a one-shot Nightwing book. Red Sonja, Death and the Devil number 1, Shazam number 15, Space Ghost number 5, Spider-Gwen the Ghost Spider number 5, Star Wars 50, Star Wars Inquisitors number 3, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 2, Transformers number 12, Ultimate Black Panther number 8, Uncanny X-Men number 2. Big week for Venom. Get ready for this. We got Venom number 37, Venom War Carnage number 2, Venom Separation Anxiety number 5, and Venomverse Reborn number 4. All 4 of those books coming out this week. Big Venom week.
Sure.
And the new launch, the new Wolverine number 1 comes out this week as well.
That's gonna
Steve's you're gonna be reading that, right?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely will.
Yeah. Of course.
One thing to note that you didn't mention that is very pertinent to you. If you are interested in the trade for Ultimate Spider-Man, the Volume 1 comes out this week.
Oh, really? Cool.
So that
all right. I am, in fact, interested in that.
There you go.
Awesome.
But yeah, that Wolverine, like Saladin Ahmed is the lead writer on it, and that's always that's gonna be good. I liked what he did with Miles back in the day. I don't know what else I've read from him, but yeah.
I've heard that name before, so I don't really know anything that I've read, but I definitely know the name. I'm looking at that Nightwing Uncovered one shot. Could be. I haven't been keeping up on the Nightwing book, but I know it's ending.
Yep.
And but I'll take a one shot so I can get a little juice from that creative team before it's over. Also, I don't know. I've been in the mood to get some more Red Sonja lately. So Red Sonja, Death and the Devil, number 1. That's a cool title, Death and the Devil.
Oh yeah.
So I might be grabbing that. And I didn't know there's a new Johnny Quest book, but it's already on issue 2.
Johnny Quest thinks we're sellouts.
He thinks we're sellouts. What the hell's up with that?
Yep. That's gonna be a good week.
Yeah. We got a couple one shots here, Steve. You want to do some one shots?
I guess we can. You think we should?
I think we should. You can hit the first one if you want to. I know you're excited to talk about this.
Yeah, so excited. One of the few movies that was on the list that I really wanted to see made.
It's a rumor.
It's a rumor. Currently, there are hard rumors of both Blade and Armor Wars being canceled. Reported by an outlet called The Direct, Marvel is looking to make the final decision on the fate of Blade and Armor Wars. of note, Marvel's head of TV, Brad Winterbaum, recently said that Blade is still happening, but could that just be a spin on it? I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm still.
I mean,
also Blade, like, there's probably some rights thing. How are the Blade movies not on Disney Plus?
they're not on Disney Plus?
I went to try and watch them the other day, and there's nothing. I can't find Blade anywhere.
I don't know, man. That
without
sucks.
paying for it.
Physical media.
I
Always
owned it
there
at
when you
one
need it.
point and don't anymore. Actually, it might be in a giant box of DVDs I have in the basement.
Hey,
That'd
there
be
you
cool.
go. There you go.
And I do now have a Blu-ray player again. So
Physical media doesn't get deleted.
it's
Doesn't
true.
get deleted. I mean, yeah, no one's gonna say that it's canceled before it's canceled.
Right.
You know what I mean? And technically, it's in development until it's canceled. So, Brad Winterbaum, of course, he said that because at the moment he said that is still true. So I can certainly see Armor Wars being canceled. Like that's a no-brainer
Yeah.
to me. Like there was even like I read some headline. I didn't read the whole article. But that someone at a red carpet asked Don Cheadle about the status of Armor Wars, and he jokingly replied, "What is Armor Wars?"
That's weirdly perfectly in character for Cheadle.
Yeah,
Too.
it's a movie that no one wants or will care about if they make it. So, I'd be shocked if they actually made Armor Wars. Blade, on the other hand, if we lost Blade, that would be tragic. I think I would love a new
agree.
Blade movie. I would love a Blade movie, and it's crazy that they haven't cracked it yet.
Yeah.
And I've probably said this before on this very podcast, but probably not in a while, but I'll say it again. My gut just tells me that the reason that they can't figure it out is that they're trying to connect it too heavily to existing MCU stuff. When I feel like Blade should be initially mostly an outlier, and he'll find his way into the MCU or connections with the Avengers or whatever you want. But it just seems like they're trying to cram in other. I just can't think of another thing that would be making it hard to write this movie. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Daywalker slices up vampires. The movie
Yeah.
writes itself.
And he doesn't have to meet up with Captain America.
No.
He doesn't have to meet up with the Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever, but like he could meet up with Werewolf by Night
Right.
or something. You know, put that in a post-credit scene. But don't worry about it for the rest of the movie. Just have him fighting vampires for the rest. Figure it out. Or cancel it, I guess.
Right.
Who knows? We'll see. Next one shot. Allison Brie, my girlfriend, has been cast in Amazon's Masters of the Universe movie. Allison Brie, who, yes, I think she's very attractive, but she's also an incredible actor. Incredible actor. She's been cast as the villain Evil Lynn, and she'll be playing the villain to Nicholas Galtine. I don't know how to say that now. Who has been cast as He-Man. I remember we talked about him when he was cast, having not known anything about who he is.
Still don't.
But yeah, that's a thing. And your occasional reminder that Amazon is making a Master of the Universe movie.
Looking at the show notes were my reminder because
Right,
I completely
exactly,
forgot.
yeah. Seeing this headline was my reminder. I was like, "Oh, Allison Brie, whoa, He-Man movie." Oh,
Yeah,
we heard about that.
We talked about that.
Yeah,
This is your bi-monthly reminder of how ridiculous the naming conventions in He-Man movies are.
oh yeah, no thought whatsoever.
Yeah, no, not at all. Well, I think we had the discussion about Masters of the Universe in general, and how the whole thing was explicitly a toy line made up of
A way to sell
spare
toys.
parts. Literally, was it Mattel that just threw out, or whoever it was just like pieced together parts of other toys and action
Oh,
figures.
yeah.
And they slapped them
I don't know
together,
if I
threw a
knew
name
that.
on them, and threw it out there.
Crazy, and it worked.
If you get a chance, the Toys That Made Us on Netflix, there is a He-Man Masters of the Universe episode of
Oh,
it.
cool.
it was enlightening.
Oh, nice. I should watch that.
Oh yeah, that whole series was great. Just like thinking about all these toys that I played with as a kid and
Right? Yeah.
all the weird things that led to their development or
Right.
didn't or whatever. Yeah,
Very cool.
was fun.
Very cool.
Other things that are possibly, hopefully fun.
Fingers crossed.
Todd Stashwick has been cast in Marvel's Vision series. We reported last week or a couple weeks ago, and by report I mean we just said it because we saw a rumor somewhere.
Talked about it.
Not particularly reporting, but that Terry Matalas, who was the showrunner on season 3 of Picard, had joined the Vision series, no longer titled Vision Quest. It seems like Todd Stashwick, who was one of the actors in said series, has been cast in a role in this MCU piece.
Yeah.
So
no word on who he's playing, of course.
No.
But it makes sense if a showrunner's worked with an actor and trusts him, likes him, bring him over from Picard, bring him to the MCU. I don't even know, like, besides other Avengers, like, does Vision have like side characters? He doesn't really, right?
not that I remember.
I mean, he had his family in that Tom King book.
Right.
Which, by the way, I loaned that book to my friend Brandon Hall, who sometimes listens to the podcast. Just shouting out because I'm thinking of it right now. Do you still have my Vision book, Brandon? Because I don't think I have it in my bookshelf. And if you still have it, can I have it back? Okay.
Maybe
love you, buddy.
West Coast Avengers?
I know, and that was, didn't we talk about that? Was it last week? Was a rumor the West Coast Avengers could show up, or did we not talk about
I don't know. I don't
because
think
they're
I
making a
remember.
Wonder Man thing, so Wonder Man's going to be around if that show ever comes out.
Right. Hawkeye is Hawkeye.
Hawkeye's always Hawkeye.
Yeah, I don't know.
So we could see.
I don't even
I'm just
remember
wondering who
else
this
was
guy
on
could
that.
possibly play.
Who else was in the original, or the old West Coast Avengers?
Was it Iron Man or was it War Machine? War Machine, right?
Might have been War Machine. That sounds right.
Yeah.
Was it Bobby Morris? Was it Mockingjay or Mockingbird? No, Mockingjay? What the hell?
It's Mockingbird.
It's
Mockingjay is...
No, it's Mockingbird. The Mockingjay. I'm trying to remember why that. I was surprised because I was trying to figure out why it popped into my head.
Hunger Games.
That's
There
you
the
go.
franchise I'm trying to think of. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of who this guy could play. Of course, he could play a villain, or he could play just a bystander, or whatever. Like, who knows? But anyway, last bit of news, which I read tonight, right before I came down to record this. Alfred. Yeah, you're reading it for the first time right now, right? Alfred Goh and Miles Miller, who are writers who have written the show Wednesday, and also the currently in theaters Beetlejuice, which I haven't seen yet, but I'm dying to see.
Same.
They have been hired to write a film adaptation of Image Comics' Ice Cream Man title, which is very cool. I've never read Ice Cream Man. I've read about Ice Cream Man. I've heard about Ice Cream Man. It seems right up my alley. Ice Cream Man is a horror anthology series, so every issue is different story. The one through line being the appearance of this creepy Ice Cream Man. And I haven't read it enough to describe him in any real knowledgeable way. I just know that, like, maybe he's a good, maybe he's a bad. You don't know. Maybe he's horrible.
Literally read one issue of this comic that Jesse,
oh, yeah, you did a review.
Jesse
of it,
gave
right?
me for a review.
Yeah.
And it wasn't my bag, but like people love it.
People love it.
Jesse included from Funky Town Comics and Vinyl.
Yeah. But the anthology aspect of it is what's interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because there are some pretty good horror anthology films out there. Like there's a series called VHS, which is like the original one is kids are like break into this house and find a stacks of VHS players, and they're just like putting them in, and then you watch what they're watching. So it's like a different horror segments, in one movie. Or a movie like Trick or Treat, which goes from segment to segment with a through line character similar to the description of this movie. So, but I again, I haven't read the comics, so I don't know how similar it could be, but interesting to see how this is developed. I mean, they're doing Wednesday. They do Beetlejuice. I also read that they worked on Spider-Man 2, but there's no information. But Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2, these guys worked on as well, and they also worked on Smallville. So,
complete aside after the Spider-Man 2 non sequitur. You know what I watched the last 2 nights?
Spider-Man?
No, The Amazing Spider-Man.
Ah,
it had been
Amazing
a
Spider-Man.
long time since I'd
Thoughts?
seen that. Solid, like better
It's
than I
pretty
remembered
solid.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I never remembered it bad, but it was like,
yeah,
oh, this is a good movie.
because it came out so soon after Tobey Maguire's tenure ended.
Yeah.
I think we all thought it was a little too soon for a new origin story of Spider-Man, but at the time studios were like, it has to be an origin. It's the first one. It didn't have to be. But so I think I remember when I first saw it, I was like, this is good, but like I know his origin. I don't need to see a new version of his origin. But I think watching it with fresh eyes years later, I was like, no, Spider-Man. Yes, of course I tell origin. It's a Spider-Man movie. Like I was back on board. Especially with what's his face, his Uncle Ben. I thought he was a tremendous. I can't think of his name.
God,
Martin Sheen. Yeah. He was tremendous. The casting of that movie.
That was what I was going to say.
Well.
Like Sally Field, Martin Sheen, and then Dennis Leary as Stacy.
Oh, Captain Stacy. Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Like
Emma Stone.
Yeah,
incredible. Yeah.
I just realized the past 24 hours have been like all Dennis Leary all the time for me.
Really?
And movies that I completely forgot he was in. I was 2 for 2.
Oh, wow.
So my son watched for the first time last night The Sandlot, which
he's in The Sandlot.
He's the dad. It's Karen Allen and Dennis Leary are Small's parents.
Karen Allen?
Yeah, like I was sitting there, I'm like, bah,
what the hell?
Yeah, no, it blew my mind. I was like,
Marion Ravenwood married Captain Stacy?
Yes, yes. Yeah, she married that raving lunatic from the stand-up No Cure for Cancer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't realize it until a second ago, but I've watched multiple hours of Dennis Leary, which I hadn't thought of in years. So
weird.
Yeah. Which also The Sandlot, A+. Still
holds up.
Still great.
That was a movie.
Also, my son's new favorite movie now.
Oh wow!
He literally watched it again this morning.
To my son.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
The Wendy Peppercorn scene is slightly problematic still, but
yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, I think it flew right over his head. So, because I went to say something and he was just like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "All right, just go." We're just going with it.
As it did. It flew over our heads too when we were kids.
Oh, 100%. But yeah, fun times.
Cool. You said you also have not seen Beetlejuice yet.
No, I have not.
It's getting pretty good reviews, I think. Like
nice.
mid to good reviews from what I've read. I for the last week I've been trying to find a night that I can rewatch the first one because I haven't seen the first one in so long.
It's been decades for me.
But I just like either things pop up and I can't do it, or things that I thought were going to go a certain length go longer, so I don't have time to do it. Like it's just killing me. Hopefully tomorrow night I'll be able to watch Beetlejuice. I remember when I was a kid watching Beetlejuice and loving it, being like, this is great. This is creepy and funny and scary and great. I love this movie. And then I remember seeing it when I was like in my mid to late 20s sometime, like more of a grown-up brain, and thinking like, holy shit, this movie is weird. This movie is so weird. How did I not clock how absolutely weird and strange this movie is when I was a kid? How did that just all go right over my head? So now I'm really excited. And that was a long time ago since I've watched it. So I'm really excited now to watch it with a fully formed grown-up adult brain and be like, yeah, this is weird as hell, but also I love it at the same time. Yeah. Hopefully that's my response to it.
Right. Things can be two things. And hopefully this is both of those things.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
Agreed.
you know what I
So,
did? You know what
well,
I
what?
did watch though. I don't know if
Ooh,
you've caught up any more on it, but the Rings of Power.
I've watched the 3rd episode. I think there's a 4th, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I think the 4th
Yeah.
just came out. So
Yeah.
I'm literally 1 in, but it scratched the itch again. I'm
Right.
running into the problem of we have so much crap going on, and my wife was watching it with me, and now we have to find time to do it together.
Yeah, now you're screwed.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it was, and if they didn't drop all 3 at once, it's like, okay, we can do an hour a week,
Right.
but now we're just
Yeah, but
perpetually
you're
going to be behind.
yeah, you're just already behind.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, man, I think it's great.
yeah,
I think it's really great.
It's holding up. It's just one of those where I get the people that weren't a huge fan of it for whatever reason, and that's fine. But like, I'm enjoying the hell out of it.
Yeah, let me enjoy it at least.
Yep.
Yeah, I love it. Also, my wife and I just finished season 4 of Umbrella Academy tonight before we recorded. And we were shocked to find it's only 6 episodes. It was
Really?
like a shortened season, which is probably why Netflix greenlit it in the first place. And we liked it a lot. It was kind of a heavy ending. I'm not gonna spoil anything. It was a heavy ending to the series in some ways, but also a very fitting ending to the series, I believe. Fitting for that show, fitting for those characters. And yeah, so check it out if you want Umbrella Academy. And yeah, I can't wait to watch more Rings of Power. But I won't be doing that for a couple days because, like I said, I'm trying to watch this Beetlejuice movie. So
There you
figure out
go.
how that goes. But that's all I got, Steve. You got anything else?
No,
we
it's
good
it
to
for
go?
me. I'd say we're good to go. If you'd like
Good to
to
go.
like and subscribe to all of us on social media, feel free to check us out. Subscribe on your podcatcher of choice. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Check us out on YouTube. Beyond that, themultiverseport.com, themultiverseport@gmail.com. That's that.
That's that. And so, as the 2 suns set over the burnt corpses of Owen and Baru Lars, we say thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the multiverse.